Rugby World Cup 2023, folks. Team of the week for week number 2. We're going to go through 15 guys who played particularly well at the weekend. And you guys can let us know your thoughts. You may hear my voice is slightly off. I'm still at the tail end of a cold. Apparently the tail has gone to my throat, so hooray. Also, it's kind of hard at this stage of the tournament, I mentioned it last week as well, to judge a match which is a real kind of arm wrestle close game against the likes of 72-0. So take it for what it's worth. We'll try to identify some good performances. And not just from the winners this time. We've got a couple of the guys from the losing sides as well, who I thought put their hands up pretty well. Well, let's get started. Loose head prop. I went with one of the Fijian guys in Hiromi Maui. Man, he was good. Fiji didn't win that game through some flying winger scoring a try. They won it through great set piece, good maul defense, which is, I guess, set piece as well. Good work at the breakdown. And Maui is a big part of that, man. He wins 2 turnovers, more than any loose head prop this week. He gets 7 from 10 tackles, which is not like the highest completion rate you would expect, but one of them, he absolutely clatters Carter Gordon. And Carter Gordon got subbed kind of early in that game. I feel like part of it's the pressure he was getting from the big Fijian defenders. He has 3 runs, he has 7 meters. He doesn't concede any penalties, which is always a gold star for a prop. So Ironi Maui for Fiji put in a very, very good shift. And another guy who put in a good shift, Michael ALAALATOA for Samoa, the jersey I am wearing. He's your top tackling tight head prop this week. He made 9 from 10. Very busy shift from him. He wins a turnover and doesn't concede any penalties, which are all great defensive stats for any prop. But I mean, in the larger scheme of things with that game, where Samoa got on top of Chile was in the forwards. And, the energy sapping play that the likes of Michael ALAALATOA and his teammates put on was kind of what allowed them to run away with the game at the end. I think he was on the field right up until the first Malolo try. So, yeah, Michael ALAALATOA helping with that forward dominance, I think, is a big part of what leads his team to victory in that game. And then hooker, I've gone with a Welshman. Oh, why did I write his first name? DEWI Lake. I should have just written Lake. Didn't write anybody else's first name. I guess because he's got 4-letter names. They're kind of short. Their lineout's still not convincing, Wales. But DEWI Lake, if you look at it kind of a captain's knock, he's got 38 meters, which is the first of any hooker this week. 11 from 11 tackles, which is the first of any hooker. He has 12 runs, which is the first of any hooker. He finishes with a try. He finishes with 3 passes, and he finishes with an offload. Yeah, he was just leading from the front. Now, it wasn't always pretty from Wales. They are still a side, I guess, kind of like England, like Australia. Changed their coach, and they're still in a bit of transition. Not everyone can make it look as pretty as Simon Louis is doing with Fiji, apparently. But, DEWI Lake, good to see him back fit, and good to see him kind of leading from the front. So, good effort from that man. Locks, a bit more of a flashy one. Is old THEO McFarland from Samoa. Showed his skill set, man. If you haven't seen that try assist where he offloads to Taumatene, it is an absolute thing of beauty. I recommend you go watch it. It was just gorgeous. I mean, he's got that kind of skill set in him. He offloads just the once in that game, but it's enough. He carries 5 times for 26 meters. He has 14 from 14 tackles, so still quite capable of doing the grunty stuff. And he's phenomenal in the air. He wins 5 lineouts and steals 1 of the Chilean lineouts. So, yeah, man, THEO McFarland is an absolute asset to Samoan rugby. Really, really great to see him put in a good shift. Now, if you want to go back and watch games like Samoa and Chile back on demand, if you missed it at the time, most of the services that I've seen, thankfully, have got the games on, at least for a while. I know Sky Sports here in New Zealand is showing the games in their Sky Sports Now catalogue. For you guys in the UK, ITV is showing them. If you guys haven't signed up for one yet, you could consider using a VPN. I mean, you guys in the UK and France and Ireland and what, I've already got free broadcasters anyway. But for those of you who don't, you can access the ITV catalogue and their live games using a VPN. I've been using Express. I'll put a link down in the description to Express. It's pretty straightforward. Connect to the VPN. UK. watch games. Happy days. 30-day money-back guarantee just in case it doesn't work for you. But I use incognito mode and it seems to work pretty well. So, yeah, there you go. Next lock is one of the losing guys. An old Nick Frost from Australia. Not Australia's best day at the office, that is for sure. But goodness me, Nick Frost justified his inclusion into the squad, didn't he? I mean, he was not named in the first games. Was he on the bench for the first one? But in the second game, he was starting alongside Will Skelton and then Arnold because Skelton was obviously ruled out. First for line-out wins with 8. First for line-out steals with 4. Next best guy has 2. First for starting locks to beat defenders with 3. He has 8 runs for 25 metres, which for a lock's not a bad return. He's the first lock for passes with 11. He has an offload. Man, he was doing a bit of everything in this game, was old Nick Frost. So, yeah, it's a positive in what was not the greatest day for Aussie rugby. But remember, they are not dead and buried just yet. Loose forwards. One of my flankers, I had to go with a Fijian in LEVANI BOTIA. I spoke about it when I spoke about Roni Maui. LEVANI BOTIA as well, man. Turnovers. First equal this week is LEVANI BOTIA with 3. And defensively, alongside his turnovers, he makes 12 from 12 tackles. And again, that's what Fiji win this game on the back of. Great goal kicking, great defense, great work at the breakdown. LEVANI BOTIA is a massive part of that. I mean, offensively, he's the top flanker for offloads this week. But he's all with 3. He's got 21 metres. He beats a defender, 8 runs. But ultimately, great masterclass in how to get over the ball at the breakdown from him. One of the French guys. It's kind of seems like ancient history now, that France for the Uruguay game. France a little bit kind of underwhelming. But Makalu, I mean, he was denied a try, which was kind of TMO'd off, but still managed to clock through 106 run meters, showed his gas. That's the top flanker this week for sure. For run meters, beats a defender. He has 8 from 11 tackles, which he'd like to up a little bit, but it's still a decent return. He wins a turnover. He's one of their top line-out winners with a couple. He is the top flanker equal with 2 line-out steals, so very disruptive in the air. And 7 passes, man, so very involved shift from Sekou Makalu. Doesn't often get a start, tends to be relegated to that bench role, but it was good to see him get a start and take the most of his opportunity. And then a Welshman in old TAULUPE, FALETAU, as your kind of number 8. I mean, goodness me, you need that guy. He's so crucial for Welsh rugby, isn't he? He's one of their veterans that's still playing after withdrawal of a few of them, you know, as the World Cup camps were getting underway. 47 metres, second for number 8s, 4 defenders beaten, first equal for number 8s, 8 from 9 tackles, that's a good return, 6 passes, and crucially, who's your man who gets you that try at the death to get you a bonus point, which in the scheme of things with that pool looks vitally important? TAULUPE FALETAU. Key man for Wales at this World Cup, you would have to imagine. Into the backs, I'm going to put a Kiwi here at number 9, in old Cam ROIGARD. He's only very new into the All Black scene, but he didn't look out of depth, but it's hard to say from that game against Namibia where we racked up a big scoreline, but he scores 2 tries, which he's known for here in Super Rugby for his running game. Not only that, but he sets up 3, which is maybe even more impressive than the 2 he scores himself. He has 43 metres, which is second only to Reinach. 2 clean breaks and 6 defenders beaten. I think Reinach was 2 clean breaks, 7 defenders beaten, so similar amount, although I think Reinach didn't play as long. And 3 from 4 tackles. Yeah, man, he looks the business. I think he's put himself above Finlay Christie in the pecking order, but we will see what Fozzie does with that one. Number 10... It's another week where I've gone George Ford. George Ford, maybe not as kind of individually brilliant in terms of literally kicking all the points for his side, but still, it's his boot and the work of his forwards that wins England that game against Japan for sure. 18 kicks from hand from him is certainly the most of any player this week. But he also has 49 metres and beats a couple of defenders, so he's still one of the top 10s for his running game as well. He's not just a kicking 10. He's got a try assist, which is that thing of beauty cross kick to Freddie Stewart. Do you feel like you're going to see more of that? Although I think Stewart's got a dead leg in that game, so we'll see how he goes on the road to recovery. 4 from 6 tackles, yeah. George Ford. Now, with Owen Farrell coming back, it begs the question, what happens with George Ford? But he's in a pretty hard position to drop right now. It wouldn't be surprised me if Steve Borthwick dropped him for Owen Farrell, but man, he's in some good form. Don't knock a gift horse in the mouth, Steve. Play George Ford. Midfield, I think it's the second week I've had this fella in there as well. BUNDEE. Man, he's in some cracking form as well, isn't he? I mean, it's hard because Ireland haven't played their 2 hardest games just yet, but BUNDEE's been phenomenal both weeks. 10 defenders beaten. I think that's first equal across the week with Grant Williams, the South African halfback come winger. 80 metres is the first for number 12s alongside Havili from the All Blacks. He's got a couple of clean breaks. He scores a couple of tries. He makes 100% of his 4 from 4 tackles in a game where they were pretty dominant. Yeah, man, he's looking absolutely sharp, isn't he? Razor sharp. Right at the right time for Ireland. So good one to have. 13, I was really torn and I couldn't make my mind up. So I decided to give some love to one of the kind of lesser talked about teams. And one of the Chilean players in old Domingo Saavedra. He put a crunching hit. Absolutely crunching hit on Christian Liliafano in this game. And that's something you have to appreciate. A midfielder sprinting out of the line to clatter into the opposition 10. Did it really well. He makes 8 from 10 tackles in that game and wins a turnover. So while his forwards were getting bossed around a wee bit, the back line with the likes of Saavedra were trying to kind of keep the scoreline as close as they could. He had 5 runs for 36 metres, which I think is the 3rd best Chilean in that game. I mean, he's behind his fullback in his 10. But in the scheme of things, he did pretty well. Beats a defender, couple of passes. Tough day at the office for them. But he looks a good player. Been pleased with him for the first couple of weeks we've seen him. Haven't got any South Africans on the board just yet. Have to change that with this man. Makazole Mapimpi. Oh, pretty good game, man. I mean, he's been under the media spotlight a wee bit with the with the form of the likes of Arendse and Chiz and Colby about how Mapimpi might be the guy to miss out in the big games, but jeez. He rolled back the clock with this one. Kind of like ROIGARD when I'm talking about that All Blacks game. It's hard to read too much into that game given how lopsided it was, but 3 tries. 2 try assists. Like nobody, I mean, him and ROIGARD have got the best. If you're looking at your tries you set up yourself and tries you scored yourself, nobody beats those 2 guys this week. So Mapimpi gets that. And 172 run meters, which is first this week. The next best was Caleb Clark with 124. So it's a big gap between him and the next guy. He's got a couple of clean breaks. He's got 4 defenders beaten. He's got 3 from 3 tackles. Mapimpi played pretty well. So, yeah, good for South Africa to have some wingers in some good form. Like whoever you pick is going to do a good job for you. A little bit of a different one. An old MACK HANSEN from Ireland. Maybe not as flashy as Grant Williams or Caleb Clark, who also played in those kind of lopsided games. We've got better numbers than MACK HANSEN, but it was a bit of a tighter game against Tonga. He only scores the 1 try, MACK HANSEN, which is a pretty good one. He's got 40 metres from 4 runs, which is a heck of a return. And he's got 5 defenders beaten, which is actually second only to Grant Williams, who had like 10. And he's got 2 clean breaks, which is second to Caleb Clark, who had about 6. But in the scheme of things, I think his return's phenomenal. And then he's got a great kicking game. He's got 2 kicks from hand. One of them's a crack on 50-22 with no angle. It was either a 50-22 or he forced his Tongan counterpart to knock it into touch because it was going to be a 50-22. So fantastic kick. Defensively 3 from 3, man. So you've got a try scoring, defensively sound, can kick the ball very capably, right winger. 6 passes as well. So his involvement's second only to Caleb Clark in terms of that. So yeah, plus his quick line out. I think MACK HANSEN did pretty well. And last one, it's another one of my maybe slightly more left field picks is the Uruguayan fullback, BALTAZAR AMAYA, in a losing effort. But it would be hard not to pick a Uruguayan guy after the effort they showed against France. Like they really threw the kitchen sink at it. 8 defenders beaten is the first of all of the starting fullbacks this week. 7 runs for 55 metres. Great return. He scores a try where he beats Vincent and he beats Jaminet to get to the line. He's got 2 from 2 tackles, although he couldn't quite stop Astoy for that French try. 7 passes, wins a quick line out. Looks genuinely pretty dangerous. The list of honourable mentions is huge. My voice is buggered, so I'm not going to go through them. But obviously the big scoreline games, South Africa, New Zealand, even Ireland, and so on. You could pick guys for days from those sides. You could pick more of the kind of plucky underdog guys. But yeah, that's my 15 for this week. Enjoyed it. Hopefully my voice can get better before the next round of games starts, because there's some big ones on. But yeah, you guys let us know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.